My name is Ethan Hibbert. I am a producer of a comic book called Strange Encounters, and I am documenting my absolute insanity when it comes to getting this comic book developed. Now, this week's video is going to be a little bit different than the previous week's video. I'm going to be talking less about the comic book itself and more about my personal brand that I'm trying to develop when building this comic book. So far, it's been a little bit different. I'm going to explain the history of it all. Because the reason I'm doing this is because I have a plan where I'm going to change a lot of my branding, at least on my Instagram and on my Facebook, and I kind of find it interesting to explain the process of where things have come from. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a history on my own development when it comes to sharing my own art. It's cool and it's different. And it all builds up to actually a project I'm working on in school right now where the goal is to make a social media campaign. And my campaign, I really think it would be cool to do something on the lines of my comic book that is interactive with people that watch my videos or people that look at my Instagram. So I haven't came up with exactly what I'm going to build that into yet, but I will keep you guys posted on it because that is something that I'm planning on starting to work on soon. But anyways, let's get started and talk about the history of my brand that is still just a baby, little tiny little seed of anything. But it has a little bit of a history and I want to talk to you guys about it. All started one day when, well, it really started before this. It started when I started doing art. I started doing art when I was in middle school, really. I just started doodling on a little piece of paper. I thought it looked really bad, but then one person came up to me and they looked at it and they said, "Hey, that's super cool. You should do more art." And I just sort of shrugged my shoulders and I'm like, I don't know about that. And one thing led to another, and I started drawing more, and more people started seeing what I was drawing, and more people started saying, "Hey, that looks pretty cool. You should keep drawing more." So I was like, "Yeah, okay." Got that reinforcement that I should keep drawing more. And I went into high school and started drawing a lot more. It was significant how much more I had started trying to do art. And as high school sort of progressed, I got a little bit better and better and better. And then by the time senior year came around, I was doing all sorts of different art pieces beyond digital. Digital was my main focus. I really liked making digital art, but I made some stuff even beyond that. Into doing some more abstract stuff, which you can kind of see from the previous video I made with the concept art of Jesse's universe coming out of the back of his head. That's something that I really like drawing, is abstract. And I built on that, at least when I was in high school. This is one piece that I made a long time ago, a couple years ago, I guess. I really like it. When people see it, they're like, "What is that?" And it's actually a stage light that I cut up into pieces, and I really hope this is going to come through on the video here. It might not, but I have my light here. If you shine the light at it at a certain angle, it makes the shadows play against it. Kind of cool. All in the idea of messing around with light, I guess. And that was one of the first pieces that I made that I was really proud of. I'm happy that I still have it today. And I kept going through school making art. Here's another piece that I had made that I got put into a museum in Aspen on display. I was very proud of that when that happened. It started building into my science fiction phase. It's supposed to be an alien with rockets and spaceships and stuff coming out of his head. And that's what I was focused on, making these sort of bigger pieces when I was in school. And then I started working on digital art a lot more. And that was the biggest focus, was digital art. After I had started doing a lot of art in school, my senior project came around. And I didn't know what I was going to work on for my senior project. All I knew was that I wanted it to have something to do with artwork. In my head for a little while, I thought, hey, maybe I could go for something where I take photos of the real world and then superimpose characters that I drew digitally onto those photos. And for a while, that's what I was going to go for. But then an idea came into my mind. I had always written stories alongside whenever I made artwork, I always made these characters. So why don't I put all those stories and all those characters into one complete spot? What came from that idea was my first comic book. It was bad. It was really not great. I really am still proud of it, but looking back, definitely do think I've come a long way. This is one of the images from the comic book. It was really centered on being artwork, more so than telling a story. I really wanted to make something that fit with art, if that makes sense. And I needed it to be less about consistently being easy to read and easy to follow, and more so about being a whole page that sort of combines together to make an appealing art piece. I made 10 pages of this comic book. It was called Finding a Crew for the End of the World. It was a science fiction story, and it was really the birth of the idea of my comic book I'm working on now. The story and the plot has vastly changed, but a lot of the elements that I had put into this original comic book that I made back in high school are coming back again into my comic book Strange Encounters now. Here's another little image of a piece. I lost a lot of pages to it. I used to have more, but something happened to them. And I got these all printed out when I was showing off the art in the art show at school, and I'm happy that I still have them. It's cool to be able to see the evolution of growth when it comes to my comic book art anyways. It went from being, and I'll pull up this one as an example again. It went from being really kind of difficult to understand what's happening in the page. It's just sort of all over the place and not very consistent, to what I've been working on now with my comic book, trying to make not only the imagery look very pretty and very well done as art, but also easy to read and easy to follow in a narrative aspect, which I'm definitely working on right now. And so for the longest time, I had worked on that comic book. I finished it after months of working on it. I didn't spend nearly as much time as I have on Strange Encounters right now. But once I had it finished, I submitted it for my senior project, and that was pretty much that. I never really worked on it after the fact. I had always said, oh, I'm going to get it published someday. Oh, I'm going to send it to publishers. And I tried that for maybe a month, but it was a 10-page long comic book that I really didn't have a whole lot of, I didn't put as much work into it as maybe sometimes I wish I would have. But with my comic book that I'm working on now, Strange Encounters, I'm definitely putting in that effort, and I'm definitely trying to perfect it and make it as polished and clean as possible. That's not where the story ends. After school, I had started doing more art pieces and making more digital art on my iPad, and I had this idea that I wanted to make artwork every day, a piece of art that I could upload and submit to my Instagram every day. And for a solid amount of time, I was able to consistently, every single day, make a piece of artwork and upload it to Instagram. And I was very proud of a lot of the pieces I had made. None of them were telling any narrative story, but they were all sequential, different pieces of artwork that I had made on my iPad. And one of those examples, the one that I'm most proud of that I've ever made really on digital art, that I have printed out here, is this piece. Now, this is a piece that I had downloaded. It's The Old Man in a Cap by Rembrandt, and I took an image of that and I superimposed my own pop imagery, colors splashing all over it with random graphic designs, and I really like how it came out. This is one of my favorite art pieces that I had ever done, and I'm still very proud of it. I have it hanging up. I have all of these pieces hanging up in my apartment, but that one holds a very deep part in my heart. And for the longest time, I was able to do artwork every single day, but that sort of stopped. One week I had gotten the flu, and it knocked me on my butt, and I was in bed for a week. And after I woke up from that, or not woke up, but after I got better from that, I stopped doing it daily. I wish sometimes I was able to keep up the endurance of keep on doing artwork daily. But I also think that there's an element that you need to keep an eye on where it takes time to make good pieces of artwork. It takes time, patience, and if you rush it just to get it uploaded onto Instagram in one day, sometimes your work suffers. In my own experience, sometimes I'll upload it and I'll be like, yeah, it looks okay, but it's not nearly as good as I want it to be. So that's why it takes a long time for me to upload some of my content, because I really am trying to perfect it and make it as high quality as I can, and sometimes that takes weeks. In the case of making this city for my comic book, it's taking months. But when it's done, I am sure it's going to be clear, concise, consistent, and it's going to look very awesome. And that's why it's taking a long time to make this City Hall concept art. I'm just trying to perfect it. And I was going to make a video about that this week, but I figured what would be more interested than a very non-complete image of a City Hall would be the history of me making art online and me sharing it with people. So I had started going back into making art, not every day, but trying to consistently upload at least one image, at least a month at a time. And I was pretty consistent, but now my big focus is getting this comic book worked on. That's where most, if not all, of the art practice that I'm working on right now is going into. And that's where social media comes in. Sharing art online is interesting. It's a strange thing. I haven't gotten enough. You get a lot of. I don't get a whole lot of feedback when it comes to my art. I get some people saying, "Oh yeah, it's pretty cool," and some people saying, "Yeah, that's awesome," but I think there's a really valuable aspect to feedback that sharing your art online lends to. When you get people telling you, oh, maybe you should work on this, oh, maybe you should tweak that, it really is a good way to refine your artwork, and it is a good way to make things better. Critiquing, that's something I learned in school, is that critiquing your art and hearing opinions from other people about your art, as kind of scary and intimidating as that can be, it is a very valuable thing. It's something that allows you to become a better artist, a better storyteller. Feedback is important. And I think that might be what I'm going for here on this campaign. My idea is to take a few pieces, maybe concept arts or actual sheets from my comic book that I have so far, upload them, and ask for constructive criticism. I want you to not not dig into my artwork, but I want you to look at it and say what exactly you think I need to refine, what I could be working on better, and I might go for something like that. I'm still coming up with the logistics of doing so, but that might be where I'm leaning towards. And when it comes to my brand, changing things has been tricky. I have and I mean, I was gonna upload a video of this to show you guys, but this video is already starting to become long enough, so I'll just show you this style guide, and I can't because my iPad is so bright. So that's a style guide. That's something I was working on in my class for branding myself, trying to change my logo. I'm happy with what I have right now, but I do think it could use some work. So if anybody has any suggestions on that, please, by all means, let me know. I'm trying to make things pop more, make things more exciting, make things more fun. I really do want to start giving more content on YouTube. I think I'm going to keep doing one video a week. But as far as Instagram goes, my thought process is maybe I should start at least posting something more consistently, because it's kind of boring right now, and I don't want it to be boring. I want this journey of making a comic book to be interesting and captivating and fun for everybody involved, especially myself. And let's see if I can start doing that. I'm gonna try to hold myself onto that. Now you guys know a little bit of a background if you haven't already. That's where I'm coming from on my art history, or my history of making art anyways. Let's see, as far as announcements go, we don't really have any. No announcements right now. Next week, we're going to probably talk about something comic book related. I'm going to try to bring it back to that comic book. So thank you guys again for watching these videos. I very much appreciate you. Have an awesome rest of your evening, rest of your night, day, week, month, year. The year is coming to a close. Let's hope 2022 is even better than 2021 for all of you guys. And thank you once again so much all for watching. And before we end today's video, one last huge shout out to Scuff Station Gaming for partnering with me and my channel. Scuff Station Gaming is an awesome esports organization that competes and creates content in a whole variety of games. Rocket League is their big main focus. My hair is all over the place just because I'm so excited talking about them. If you're looking for more information on them or you want to join even, be sure to check the links in my description. I have links to their social medias and profiles as well as my own Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. My own personal website, my Redbubble, which doesn't have a lot of content on it, but you can check it out anyways. So thank you guys again for watching and have an awesome rest of your night. Bye-bye.